My tactician can lock down the entire battlefield and melt bosses with ease. Check it out. What's up guys? Today, I have the first iteration of my Explosive Shot Lockdown Tactician. The Tactician received some nice buffs in the 0.3 update and now has some pretty amazing skills. We've incorporated the new Nova Projectile support gem to allow us to fire all around us with one button, resulting in a very easy one button playstyle when mapping. We've mixed in the Valako's Vice Gauntlets to convert our fire damage to lightning so we can also take advantage of things like Herald of Thunder and Shock Magnitude. For bossing, we have grenades, and more grenades to melt boss HP away in an instant. We're also decently tanky as we take advantage of Lucky Deflect and armor stacking on top of instant pin that we get from the Ascendancy that prevents things from moving or attacking. We're also going to take advantage of the new Defy 2 support gem, which allows us to effectively have infinite mana and free up affixes in our gear. Be sure to come watch me theorycraft and play with these builds over at twitch.tv/FGCorbin21 and make sure to check out the written planner in the description for a start to finish leveling guide. With that, let me explain the mechanics of the build. So, we're going to be using Explosive Shot as our mapping skill, as it was already one of the better mapping skills in the game before 0.3 and now has access to things like Nova Projectiles, which lets us shoot all around us in one button click. This combined with the Tactician Ascendancy node right where we want them allows us to lock down anything within a 10-meter radius of us, preventing them from moving or attacking for around 6 seconds. We'll intimidate them, which allows us to deal 20% more damage to the target, and the target will deal 20% less damage to us. They'll also be maimed for 4 seconds after unpinning for a 30% movement speed debuff and a 15% evasion rating debuff. We'll be using the new Mirage Archer Spirit Gem to create a clone of ourselves when we dodge to grab aggro, and it'll even shoot grenades that will detonate with our Explosive Shot. We'll mix in the new Mortar Cannon as well to shoot more grenades that will also detonate once more with Explosive Shot. This plus our own explosive grenade will melt bosses that aren't even allowed to move or attack thanks to pin. Defensively, we're also decently tanky as we take advantage of armor stacking, armor applies to elemental damage, and lucky deflection. We'll use iron reflexes to convert any existing evasion into armor, and then we'll take glancing blows to make our evade chance unlucky but our deflection chance lucky. This pairs perfectly with a Tactician Ascendancy node Polish That Gear, which will give us a deflection rating equal to 20% of our armor. Deflection is great because it allows us to take 40% less damage whenever we do manage to deflect. We'll be mixing in Armor Break thanks to Eroding Change, which breaks 50% of armor whenever pinning an enemy, and Armor Break 3, which will break armor and give us a 20% chance to gain an endurance charge upon fully breaking armor. This allows us to use things like Scavenge Plating for more armor, and we'll also use Charge Regulation, which will give us a 20% more defense buff whenever it consumes one of our endurance charges. Lastly, we'll take advantage of a solid Plant Ascendancy node so that way we can stack Spirit Gems like Blasphemy, which allows us to use Enfeeble, which will auto-curse targets around us and make them deal 20% less damage. So to summary, we've got Pin, Maim, Intimidate, Deflect, Fizz damage reduction, extra elemental damage reduction, Totem aggro, Life on Kill, and Curses. That is a lot of defensive layering. Lastly, we're going to slap on the new buffed Constricting Command Viper Cap. This unique helmet allows you to be considered surrounded at all times if you get one which requires 5 fewer enemies to be surrounded. No more, no less. This lets us take advantage of some super strong nodes like Frantic Fighter, Tactical Retreat, Favorable Odds, and Thrill of Battle. We'll also use the new Defy 2 support gem, which lets our damage be lucky at all times and ignore mana completely. We can always use any skill with a support gem regardless if we have mana or not. I know that was a lot, but I really wanted to explain all of the inner working mechanics of this build as there's a lot of layering going on here. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the skill gems and support gems. Alright, time for the skill gems and support gems. Alright, real quick before I move on, I realized I forgot to mention what weapon sets everything's supposed to be on. So here is the list of all the skills and the respective weapon sets they're supposed to be on. So pause for a moment and get these set to the correct weapon set and you'll be good to go. I do have a budget section if you want to check the written planner in the description. If you don't have some currency for some of the unique lineage support gems I'm using, just check the written planner in the description. There is a budget version. So, we're going to be using Explosive Shot as our clearing skill, of course, and you're going to be using Armor Break 3. This is going to allow us to break a little bit extra armor and give us a chance to gain an endurance charge whenever we fully break some armor. This is vital for getting the more defenses from our charge regulation. I'm using Enervate as we are doing lightning damage as we convert our fire to lightning with Valako's Vice. So this will give us a 25% of damage as lightning damage. Nova projectiles, which allows us to shoot all around us like this for a ton of AoE. Defy 2, because this works well with the Constricting Command Helmet and allows us to never not use our skills regardless of our mana. So we can be completely out of mana and we can still use our skill. And then I have Arjune's Metal, which will gives us a chance to load a bolt into a crossbow upon dealing a killing blow. If you don't have this, just run Nimble Reload. It is pretty effective still, even that. There's also things like Double Barrel 3, so you can toy around with that if you want to. Next up is going to be our Explosive Nade. This is our main boss damage dealer here. I'm using Concentrated Area for more area damage. This is a huge damage increase, as you can see. Same thing, Defy 2 for the lucky damage and to never not use the skill regardless of mana. Elemental Armament 2 for 25% more elemental attack damage. I have messed around with payload here, but in combination with this next support gem, the cooldown is just too long. So if you miss or spam too many of your nades at one time, you just take too long to get your grenades back. Second Wind 3, as this is going to double our cooldown uses, giving us 6 grenades in one go. This is pretty vital for making sure that you can melt down those pinnacle bosses, those Ubers, in one set of nades. And then I have Rakiata's Flow. If you cannot afford Rakiata's Flow, you're just going to throw on Lightning Pin 2, or yes, Lightning Pin 2 here, or just Lightning Pin. I think it pins 30% of lightning resistances. Just run that, and that will substitute in for here. Next up is Mortar Cannon, and we are going to be using this to shoot even more grenades. We're going to use Explosive Grenade, socket it into it, make sure that you quality it. And we're going to run Multi-Shot for extra grenades, payloads, that way we get a chance to activate a second time. This is huge for extra damage. Lightning Pin, as I said, 30% lightning res pin, and then Urgent Totems 3 for more attack speed and totem placement speed. Next up, we have Rapid Shot, and this skill is purely for generating heat, and heat is going to boost the damage of our nade. If you hover on your explosive nade, it says consumes 15 heat if possible to gain 50% of damage as fire damage. This skill is to use to generate heat. So as you shoot the skill, you'll notice that I'm generating heat up here. So it'll consume that heat to deal extra damage. My nades will be on fire like this. They'll deal a ton of extra damage. So the whole point of this skill is just to shoot it fast, get that heat build up, and move on. So we're going to be using Rapid Attacks 3 as we don't care about the less damage. We just want the attack speed. Defy 2, so that way regardless, we can use the skill if we have mana or not. Efficiency 2 for a less cost. Mobility for less movement speed penalty, and Nimble Reload for extra reload speed. All these pretty much here are kind of optional. Honestly, all of these are almost optional. It's just to kind of make the use of this skill a little bit more convenient as we're only using it for heat. Next up is Mirage Archer, and this is creating a clone of us who is also going to shoot nades and draw aggro. It is a spirit gem, so it does cost some spirit. We're going to throw Explosive Nade at him as we do want him to shoot more grenades for us. I'm using Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage. Payload for the chance to activate a second time. Concentrated Area for the more area damage, same thing. Big damage increase here. And then Lightning Pin for extra lightning penetration. I'm running Herald of Thunder because, of course, we have Valako's Vice to convert our fire to lightning, meaning that we're shocking, and this is huge for extra clear speed. So Magnified Area 2 for the extra area of effect. Long Shot 2, as this is going to be chaining pretty far out of us around this area, if not further, so this gives it a 35% more attack damage boost. Elemental Armament 2 for more elemental damage. If you have the extra spirit, you can throw on Deadly Herald, and then Elemental Focus for more elemental damage. We then have Blasphemy, as this is going to give us a extra 20% less damage taken, as it is going to apply a curse in an area around us. Enfeeble is going to allow targets to deal less damage. You can see here that the magnitude is currently at minus 21%. We run Magnified Area 2 for more area of effect of this skill. Heightened Curse if you have the spirit for it, as this is going to increase the magnitude of the curse. And then Rapid Castings, as there is a cast time on these. You can see the cast time is 0.58 or 0.70, as this does have a internal cast time on the Blasphemy. We then have Scavenge Plating, as we are going to be breaking armor, so we want to pick back up those armor bits from breaking it. It's going to give us 4% more armor per Scavenge Plating for 10 total stacks, so 40% more Scavenge Plating. Prolonged Duration 2, to increase the buff of this duration. We want this duration to last as long as possible, so the longer this lasts, the better it is for us because we have more armor for longer. We're going to run Physical Mastery to increase the level by 1. And then I run Cannibalism 2 if you have it for the 3% life on kill. You want this especially, as we do want to be recovering our life whenever we're mapping. Lastly, I have charge regulation, as this is going to consume a charge, any random charge, for a buff. We have endurance charges, so while you have an endurance charge, you will have 20% more defenses. This is multiplicative. So if you also happen to maybe find a way to fit in charge regulation 3, you may be able to also get power charges or frenzy charges for skill speed or crit chance. We're going to run Herbalism 1 if you have it, as this is just going to give you more life flash recovery. And then we're going to run Precision 1 for the improved accuracy rating, because we do want to increase our accuracy rating slightly, as we don't always have a 100% chance to hit. So we do want to bring this up. So yeah, that is all these skill gems and support gems. Like I said, there is a budget version in the planner in the description, so be sure to check that out. So let's go to get into the gear now. Alright, so here on the gear, and we do have 2 weapon sets, and this is vital for getting your damage up on this character, as you want a nade crossbow and a regular crossbow. So for your regular crossbow, you're going to want to prioritize Loads Additional Bolts. Loads Additional Bolts is going to allow you to spam more of your explosive shots without having to reload. This is just going to make using the skill feel a lot better. Crafting a crossbow is really easy. I recommend that you go look at a guide like Localhalts, as he has a really well done guide to just craft crossbows easy. This is super easy to craft, I promise you. Go check it out. You're going to want things like adds fizz damage, increase fizz damage, adds lightning damage, adds fire damage, and I have gain extra damage as lightning. You could also do gain extra damage as fire. This is granted from a essence. Levels of attack skills or levels of projectile skills is also nice, and then we have chance to gain onslaught on kill, as this is going to give you increased skill speed and movement speed. So look at a video for crafting a crossbow, as crossbows are super easy to craft this league, and I have socketed it with the Sequal's Rune of the Sky, as this is going to give you extra damage of all the elements. This is the best DPS increase. I have calculated this in Path of Building, so make sure you're using these runes. They are fairly cheap. On the other crossbow, we're going to be using a siege crossbow, as this is going to fire an additional projectile. This is going to give you extra grenade damage. On this crossbow, you're going to want level of attack / projectile skills, a ton of damage. This can be fizz, fire, lightning, any of those are fine. And then I have the grenades have a 21% chance to activate a second time desecration. This is the only way that you can get this modifier, is by desecrating. It is also easy to craft one of these crossbows. I did this one myself as well. It's very easy. Go check out the guides for them. Next up, we are going to be using the Valako's Vice Plate Gauntlets. These are going to convert our fire damage to lightning damage, which is great because we can take advantage of shock, and we can take advantage of things like Herald of Thunder. These gloves have increased attack speed, attributes, and res on them, so they are really good. I have extra reses, so I don't need the runes for them, so I'm running the Great Wolf Runes of Claws for extra physical damage to attacks. Another good one could be the one that increases the magnitude of non-damaging ailments that you inflict. The helmet, I am using Constricting Command Viper Cap, as this helmet is absolutely busted this league, and I do mean absolutely busted. I can't believe they removed Deepest Tower and then added this. So you do need one that says requires 5 fewer enemies to be surrounded. You want 5 because surrounded is whenever you have at least 5 enemies within 3 meters of you. If you have 4, it won't count unless you have a 1 target near you also. So having this will at 5 will guarantee that you always have the surrounded buffs. So scoop up 1. If you can get a double socket one, that would be ideal. Next up is going to be your body armor. You want as much armor as you can get, and life. We need life on every single piece of gear that we can. So get life, as much life and as much armor as possible. Get your reses, of course, and if you can get it, a % of armor also applies to elemental damage. This will allow you to get not only your elemental damage reduction from your reses, but also armor applying to it, which increases your elemental hit pool by a ton. On the boots, I am of course running movement speed. You want life, armor, movement speed. If you can get any attributes, I've gone for strength for extra life, and then scoop up any resistances that you need as well. If you can get things like immune to corrupted blood on them, that's also nice to eliminate one of the big weaknesses of the build. For the belt, I'm going with a plate belt because plate belts have implicit armor. You need one with only 2 charm slots, as you get a +1 charm slot from the campaign. Go for life. You don't need mana. I have it on here, but you don't need it. And then go for strength, res, and any attributes that are needed. The charms are very important this go around. That's why I'm touching on them a little bit earlier than usual. Usually I save these for last. you need to cover your main weaknesses of the build, which is bleed. Bleed can be disgusting, so we want to run this charm right here specifically. It's very cheap. It's like 1x. It's going to grant you immunity to bleeding and create Consecrated Ground on use. Consecrated Ground is going to give you a bit of life regen per second and less curse effect. I'm also running the 4 Utopia Stone charm because if we do get stunned, this will allow us to defend with 200% of armor during effect. This charm currently costs about 40x. And then I'm running a freeze charm because freeze is the only other thing that's pretty nasty to this build. So getting a freeze charm to cover your chance of getting frozen is nice here. On the rings, I am going for fire, lightning, fizz damage, max life. Of course, you need max life. Get your attributes, get your reses. Same thing on this ring. You can see that I have fizz. I do have increased lightning. Percent is fine, but flat would be better. I have life, reses, and get any attributes that you need. On the amulet, I am going with a Amber Amulet base because it does give me plus strength. Get whatever one that you can. You're going to want increased armor, global defenses, plus level projectile, any attributes, any reses, and you're going to need a little bit of spirit. Currently, I have 42 spirits. It looks like you're only going to need 40 spirits, so get you a 40 spirit one, or maybe don't run one of these support gems right here. You can take one of these out, or both of them out to save yourself some spirit. So yeah, that is what you're going to want on your amulets, and I'm anointing with eroding chains for the break 50% of armor upon pinning an enemy. And then for your flask, you just want to go with a really, really solid life flask. You can go for an instant recovery one, just the more recovery or instant recovery, the better. And then your mana flask doesn't really matter because we're not really going to be using it unless we have to place down our totems. So just have one with some instant recovery, so that way if you need to place down your totems, you can place them down even if you have no mana. So yeah, that is all the gear. So let me go and jump into the passive tree and the ascendancy. All right, so here we are on the passive tree, and I'm going to talk about the ascendancy. So with your first 2 ascendancy points, typically throughout the campaign, I recommend that you go in and scoop up a solid plan, as this will let you run multiple heralds or multiple defensive spirit gems, but you're going to want to get a solid plan. You'll get a small node for 8% increased spirit, and you'll get persistent buffs at 50% less reservation. This just means that your spirit gems themselves and everything cost half the price that they normally would. So a 100 spirit gem now costs 50. So really strong here for getting a ton of spirit gems. I then go for suppressing fire for a mobilization buildup. This means freeze, pin, heavy stun, or electrocution buildup. We are doing pinning, so this is great for us. We got more pin buildup, and then right where we want them for projectile damage builds pinned, and pinned enemies cannot perform actions. This means all of our projectile attacks will pin, and pinned enemies can't perform actions means that they can't move, they can't attack. It'll cancel any attack animations that they're in. This includes like big pinnacle boss mechanics like arbiters, fireballs, arbiters, fire wave things, Zesh's hand, Zesh's fist attacks, all of those. It'll cancel all of those out. And then lastly, I'm going for Polish That Gear because we want the gain deflection rating equal to 20% of armor. This is the only reason that we actually have any deflection rating. So make sure that you scoop this up. Starting on the tree, I pathed down this way because I did want to scoop up the armor and evasion stuff, as defense is important on the build. So we get all of these nodes for the armor evasion, the attributes, everything that you need there. We're going to come out this way and not go down here to save ourselves a couple skill points. And we're going to immediately go for Fearful Paralysis on weapon set 1. You can see just this node is on weapon set 1. These others are on the normal points. This is going to intimidate enemies for 4 seconds when you immobilize them, which is going to cause them to deal less damage and take more damage. Next up, we're going to go for Overwhelm for the increased attack damage, and we're going to get Colossal Weapon for the area of effect and strength. If you have the extra point, you could throw it right here for accuracy and dex. Coming down this way, on weapon set 2, our grenade one, we're going to go with grenade damage, grenade area of effect, and the fire and additional projectile. The detonation time does not matter, as we'll be auto-detonating them with our explosive shot. I have thought about pathing out here, but we're never on weapon set 2, so this cooldown never comes into effect. Coming down here, I have on weapon set 1 the movement speed, attack speed, move speed, and move speed nodes for our regular explosive shot set. And then we have our first jewel, which is a From Nothing diamond that is currently like 1-5 exalt right now. Its passive radius of pain attunement can be allocated without being connected to your tree. And this allows us to get a couple really nice nodes over here. We're going to grab Swift Claw for more attack damage. As you can see, this is a pretty decent increase in damage. But we're also going to grab Molten Being, which is going to gain 5% of damage as extra fire, but 5% of fizz damage taken as fire damage. This means that we have a slightly larger fizz hit pool now because it's converting some fizz to fire, which we have a better DR for. And then I have Mental Perseverance because it is 10% of damage taken from mana before life. We do have mana whenever we're mapping, so this is going to pull damage to our mana pool rather than our life pool. So this is a pretty solid increase to our hit pool. All right, so coming down here, we're going to grab up our first set of surrounded nodes. So, of course, we do have to, unfortunately, grab this one evasion node. No evasion nodes increase our armor, unfortunately, but you have to grab this one to get some of these really good nodes. So we got 25% increased attack damage, 25% increased attack damage, and 20% increased attack speed. We'll grab the small armor nodes, and this node do not matter. We'll come down here and we are going to scoop up Gym Enthusiast for the 5% increased max life, 5% increased max mana, and 5% increased max movement speed whenever we have at least 10 of each color of gym socketed. I currently need the End. You can pick any attribute that you need. I also come down here and get Jack of all trades because since we do have such a diverse amount of attributes here, I go here for the extra damage. We'll come out this way, and of course we need Iron Reflexes to convert our evasion rating to armor. We have a little bit of evasion rating due to constricting command, and maybe you have evasion rating on your rings, and plus Valako's Vice still has some, so this is a good little node to get a little bit extra armor. And we're going to grab this small node right here for attack damage while surrounded, and Last Stand for 25% increased attack damage while surrounded. We'll come up this way, grab the Area of Effect, Attack Area Damage, Area of Effect, and Area of Effect and cooldown nodes. And then we'll path out this way. I'm going to scoop up the grenade damage nodes. The 4% of damage is extra fire damage for each different grenade fired in the past 8 seconds. And then we're going to grab all these ballista nodes because ballistas are just our totems that use projectile attacks that applies to our mortar cannon. We'll grab up Kept at Bay for the attack speed and a mobilization buildup. We'll grab Artillery Strike for the +1. This allows you to drop 2 totems and have more AoE. And then I grab this one for extra armor, EV, and attack damage while a totem is in our presence. We'll path out this way, and we're going to grab these surrounded nodes right here, all of them. So attack damage while surrounded, armor, armor, armor. This one for here for block chance, deflection, ailment, and stun threshold while surrounded. Weapon set, this is on weapon set 1, this is on weapon set 1. This is for move speed, dodge roll, and then we'll grab this one on both weapon sets. We'll grab the 100% increased attack damage while surrounded, which is insane for extra damage. I have my second jewel right here, which is a Heart of the Well diamond. This is the same one from my monk. You can use any Heart of the Well diamond that has extra damages. You would like to prioritize fire and lightning, but I just didn't feel like buying another one, so I'm just reusing the same one from my old build. And then you're going to come out here and grab Tempered Defenses, as this node right here not only is giving us increased armor, but a % of armor applies to elemental damage. This set of nodes right here, these 1, 2, 3, 4 set of nodes, takes up 25% of our effective hit pool because armor and then armor applies to elemental damage is insanely good this league. So coming out this way on weapon set 2, we're going to grab the attack speed nodes as we do want to fire our nades a little bit faster. This does make a difference. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough points to fit it into both sets. I'm going to come down this way, and on a normal point right here, not weapon set 1 or 2, just a normal point, we're going to grab this small node. Then on weapon set 2, we'll grab grenade damage, and grenades have a chance to activate a second time. And then on weapon set 1, we'll grab the damage with crossbows, and the bolts have a chance to not expend ammo if we reloaded recently for a little bit better ammo conservation. We'll come out this way, and on weapon set 2, our grenade set, we'll grab the attack damage ones against rare unique enemies, as this is vital for our grenades doing enough damage against pinnacle bosses. We'll come out this way, and we have our third jewel, which is a Megalomaniac Diamond. Now, I have listed on the planner in the description a ton of nodes. You do not have to get the same ones that I get here. Please go look at the planner, as the price for ones with these are probably going to go up. So scoop up one with anything that's giving you defense, anything that's giving you decent offense. I have listed a ton. Go check those out. I am going with Crushing Verdict for the attack damage, and Supportive Ancestors for the damage while you have a totem, and the attack speed per summon totem. Coming out this way on regular points, we're going to grab these elemental damage nodes, the pin nodes, and these lightning pin nodes, because remember, we are doing lightning damage because we're converting all fire to lightning. So grabbing all of these is nice for ensuring that we're pinning enough elemental resistances. And then on weapon set 1, our regular explosive shot mapping setup, we're going with all of these nodes right here. Spray and Pray is going to give you 50% increased attack damage while moving, and then we're getting all the small movement speed penalties reductions, as this lets you move faster while you're shooting in maps to speed up the process. Same with this node, and then projectiles have a 12% chance to fire 2 additional projectiles while moving. This will let your explosive shots sometimes fire 2 extra shots. Coming down this way, we'll grab Glancing Blows, as we do want our deflect chance to be lucky. Lucky just means it's going to roll the chance to deflect twice, effectively making our initially around 30 to 40%, closer to 70-80%. And then from this point on weapon set 1, we are going to grab the pin nodes for increased pin duration, the critical hit chance against immobilized enemies and hits can't be evaded by pinned enemies, the attack damage against maimed enemies. Enemies are maimed for 4 seconds after becoming unpinned. Maimed is just going to slow them down and reduce their evasion. And then the increased pin duration, and that pinned enemies cannot deal critical hits. This just means that the duration has been buffed up from around a 4-second base to around just over 6 seconds. I think it's 6.2 seconds is the number that I came up with. So yeah, that is the jewels, the passive tree, and the ascendancy tree. So now I'll go ahead and get into a mapping and a bossing demo. All right, so here we have our map that has been kind of juiced up, and we have our 6 mod waystone here. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so here are our maps, and all you're really going to do is you're going to shoot your explosive shot and walk around. So you'll just walk, shoot your explosive shot, and it'll clear everything around you. If you come across a tricky rare or an abyss like this, it's typically nice to drop down your mortar cannons to let them start shooting out, so that way you can boom their nades. You can also dodge roll to let your Mirage Archer out, and he'll also fire nades for you to detonate. This makes things like Abyss much easier, as you're just going to be camping them with totems and camping them with your little minion guy, your little Mirage Archer. So those are always great for kind of blocking off areas, grabbing aggro, and just killing things before they can really touch you. The pin does a good job at doing that as well. It doesn't let things move. Once you've shot them, they kind of get locked down and can't move. So overall, the mapping is fairly simple. You just walk around, you shoot your explosive shots, you dodge if you need your little minion guy, you drop your totems if you need them. You can also shoot your own nades if you have to, but it's fairly simple. It's fairly tanky as well, thanks to all the deflect, thanks to all the life stacking, the life on kill, damage taken from mana, the pin, the armor itself. It's all pretty good. I can sit here and take a few hits with not too much worry. You know, I have the deflect. These guys can't even really kill me. So yeah, it's fairly simple. It's not a tough build to play. It's pretty brain dead. You just walk around, shoot your shots, and move on. So with the mapping demo out of the way, I'll go ahead and clear up this map, and we will jump into a boss demo. All right, so here we are at Zesht, and the one thing to note is before you walk up and start the fight, you should probably go ahead and reload all your stuff and get ready. We're gonna throw on rapid shot, and we're gonna start building up heat. So I'm gonna start shooting and building up my heat. Get it close to about max. Go ahead and drop totem. All right, now I'll go and prep some nades. I can dodge. Oh my gosh, shoot some nades. And we're gonna detonate them. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of overkill, but yeah, you can see how easy it is to do the bosses. Like I said, you just drop totems, you pop a little dodge roll, spawn your clone, make sure you got that heat to boost them nades, and yeah, it'll melt the boss pretty easily. And we got the diamond, nice. So yeah, fairly simple, not all that bad. The bossing is nice. If you don't kill them on the first go round, just go ahead and get away from them. Build your heat back up, of course. Once you got your heat back up, you drop some more nades on the ground, boom them with explosive shot, and you're good to roll. So yeah, that is it for the bossing demo. So yeah, that is going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Tactician. It was fun playing this guy again. He's one of my favorite characters in the game, one of my favorite ascendancies in the game, so it was a blast. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you made it to this point, make sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what build you want to see next, and I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care.